Welcome to the Blogger Genius Podcast, brought to you by MiloTree. Here's your host, Jillian Leslie.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Blogger Genius Podcast. Before I get started, I wanted to speak to those of you who are ready to start your online business. We want to help you. We want to help get you set up and get you set up right. We offer a service called MiloTree Blog Start, where we will set up your WordPress blog and optimize it so you are starting on the right foot. 30% of all websites today are powered by WordPress. We think it is the right platform to start on. There's a lot of power using WordPress, a lot of flexibility, the ability to grow and never have to change platforms. But it's complicated. If you want to set up a WordPress blog, there are a lot of decisions to make. So let us help do that for you. And then we're always here for questions to make sure that you are confident in your blog technology platform. If you have any questions, reach out to me at Jillian@milotree.com. I love hearing from you. And to learn more about our service, head to milotree.com/blogstart. See, we're going to start your blog. And for today's episode, I am interviewing Phil Pallen. Phil is a branding strategist. If you are thinking about how best to brand yourself and your website, definitely, I think you will find this episode really interesting. And we go into what it really takes as a human being to start a business on the internet, what it's like to face yourself day in and day out, growing your business. What are the things there are potential challenges, and what are the things that make it so worthwhile? We talk about showing up and the importance of that. And we talk about kind of the positive parts of building your own business piece by piece. So without further delay, I think you're going to find Phil really delightful. I did. Without further delay, here is my podcast interview with Phil Pallen. Phil, welcome to the show.
I'm so happy to be here. This is going to be fun.
So I found you because I have been on your email list for so long. And actually, you came recommended because a friend of mine saw you speak at a conference and said, you have to follow this guy. You have to see what he's doing because you're like a branding expert. And she was so turned on by what you were doing that she's like, this guy is somebody to watch. So then I got one of your emails and I reached out to you randomly to be like, hey, could you come on my show? And then you said yes, and here you are.
Yeah, Tuesday's my call day. So Tuesday means that I sit at my computer and take my calls with my clients and my friends and podcasts and whatever it is. And then that's, it worked out perfectly. I'm always happy to chat. And I think it's cool. I always love hearing how someone finds you. When someone emails you and says, listen, I found out about you and I was, or I discovered you recently and I wanted to know, whatever. Always ask people how they find you. And if you're extra geeky like me, you can keep track of that in a little spreadsheet. Keep track of how people find you, because even on a rough day, it's good to keep track so you know what to put your efforts in. But even on a rough day, if the client's unhappy or something terrible happens, go look at that little list of how people find you. And if you found me through an email blast or a friend who read an email blast and said, follow this guy, that means that I created something that resonated with someone so much so that it made them talk about me. And that form of marketing is more effective than any kind of social media post, any kind of sponsored ad or boosted post, you name it. So that's really cool. I always ask people, like, how did you find me specifically? And I keep track of that in my head or even in a spreadsheet.
Totally. And I also keep a file of what I call love letters, where somebody randomly out of the blue emails and says, I love your show, or I love what you do, or I love your product. And I save those. One, I can pull on them if I need like a testimonial or something like that. Yeah. But it's really, when you're having a hard day, it's so nice to go read them and see themes. What is it that people like? So for example, on my podcast, I get two things that people talk about. One, that I'm willing to ask not hard questions, but like real questions rather than let's talk in terms of platitudes. That I'm willing to drill down. If somebody says, well, that didn't work for me, I'll go, really? Why didn't it work for you? Like, let's like figure this out, or let's share this, or what did work for you? And two, people comment that I have a very calming voice. Isn't that funny? I've heard that now from multiple people, that they go, you just have this very soothing voice, which is really funny, because then I ask my family, like, you live with me, do I have it? And they're like, no, not really. But I think that listening to what people say about you is very powerful, because that's kind of the stuff that you might not even be aware of.
Yes. And I feel generally that branding, a big part of this is self-awareness, to know where you're strong. And it's not your opinion, and it's not necessarily your friends or your family's opinion. Let's do like real market research. I liken like asking an email subscriber or an Instagram follower, or like, let's say you go to the dog park, and you're walking your dog and you have an idea for a product. Ask someone at the dog park, like, is this something you would use? Is this something you would buy? What would you pay for this? Like, that's the kind of thing. I think branding, a big part of this is self-awareness, to know where you're strong and to know where you're weak as well. I do not enjoy writing. I like editing things that have been written for me, but I don't like sitting at a computer staring at a blank Word document and creating. Whereas I can jump on with my microphone like you, and I can talk, and I enjoy having conversations, and I enjoy this kind of like intimacy, and I like that I don't have to plan it. Here's another thing. You sent me over a list of questions, which most people want before they do a podcast interview, and I glance at them quickly, but I actually prefer for it to be a surprise. Like, I don't want to script anything. I don't want to think about my answers. I just do, because this is my area, that I operate with confidence, and it's what I enjoy doing. So it's a big part of this is self-awareness, knowing where you're strong, and knowing honestly where you're weak, or what you might be working on, and to play to your strengths.
Absolutely. People say to me, like, I want to reach out to brands to do sponsored content. And they'll say, so I should share all of my, let's say, follower numbers. And I go, oh no, you share the best numbers. You share where you get engagement. Like, if you're on Twitter because you need to be, but you're not doing anything on Twitter and you have no Twitter followers, do not share that. Like, you put yourself in the light that makes you look the best, where I always call it your special sauce. You want to lead with that. What is it about? Like, so Phil, it's not like you need to say, hey, I don't like to write. For you, it's like, I love to talk. I love to communicate that way, on video, verbally, through podcasts, whatever it is. Like, lead with your strengths. And it's so interesting to me, because we do coaching, and how many people kind of want to lead with the things that they're not good at, to kind of be like, I don't want you to notice this, so I'm going to tell you up front, like, here's what I'm not good at, so that then you can't kind of tell me later. It's a little bit like, well, I know I'm not strong at this, but I could do this. And it's like, whoa. You don't need to even share that. Put yourself in not that you want to be disingenuous or not honest, but again, what is it about you that is special and magical and magnetic? That's what you want to lead with.
I think there's a lot of value in having someone else help you identify those things, which I'm sure is a big part of your work. It's a big part of my work. And the internet is a scary place. It is an exciting place, but it's also terrifying. It's very easy for us to start sizing ourselves up against other people that are doing similar things, or what I would call a brand hero, someone who got their start a little bit earlier than you and has grown maybe bigger, has a bigger audience. We very quickly jump into the defense of like, well, right? There's insecurity there. And I'll give an example. Yesterday morning, if you get my emails, you would know this. I sent an email. Well, no, you only got this email if you clicked on the course that I launched last week, Instagram Mastery, launched a course, and I sent an email to everyone who clicked the link but didn't buy the course. And it was a very quick email. I said, listen, hope you're having a great start to your week. I always like to do a little market research to know when someone clicks the link to the course and doesn't buy, is there a reason for that? Because it might help me make better courses in the future. And I sent that email to about 250 people that had clicked the link but didn't buy the course. And I got amazing feedback. It's like we're talking about, actually. Specifically, so I heard things like, now's not the right time for me. I'm too busy. Now's not the right time for me. Unfortunately, I want the course, but I can't spend the money because I'm unemployed. One person said, the landing page didn't give me enough insight into what I'm actually receiving. And that was absolutely insightful and lights a fire under my butt. Spent a lot of time working on the course, not necessarily the landing page for launch, but now after the initial launch, I can work on that. I brought this up for this point. Someone said, well, I think I'm really good at Instagram. So I was just curious to see what you were doing. But by the way, don't base your opinion on my personal profile, because I do a lot of business I was like, I don't even know this person, and they're
right.
defending themselves,
yes.
thinking that I'm going to go to their Instagram and make a judgment and decide, well, I'll be the judge if you're good at Instagram. I'm not looking at your profile. I'm just collecting some responses from my own market research. But that's an example of how people jump on the, this kind of
don't judge me. Don't judge me
mode.
Yep.
Don't judge me. Yeah.
Yep.
I know it's not as good as it should be. People handing me their business cards at conferences. Oh, remember those conferences? They hand you a business card and they know I work in branding. And they're like, oh, but don't look like these are the old one. This is an old one. Like, don't look at my website. It's
my gosh.
Everyone just relax.
Exactly.
Relax.
Exactly.
It's going to be okay.
Exactly. It's so funny. My husband and my daughter and I, we watch reality shows. We love cooking shows, right? And we love Top Chef. And when the chef, let's say something goes wrong, and then they come present their dish to the judges, and they say, oh yeah, there was supposed to be a sauce on this, but the sauce didn't turn out right, so I didn't do that. And we all literally go, oh my God, don't tell them. Don't tell them that there was a sauce that didn't work. Just present the dish. There's this, or it's a little bit like I meet you and I go, oh, I know I have a pimple here. So here, look at my pimple. Whereas you would never notice.
Try not to look at it.
I know it's awful. I know it's awful. I tried to put concealer on it versus chances are you would never notice. So it's that idea that you're right. We come defended. Don't judge me. And it's so funny. The one thing that I teach, and I talk about this a lot, if you want to be an entrepreneur on the internet, is do B- work, because you've got to get stuff out there. And if you are a perfectionist, because that's I think the path to hell is perfection. And we are all iterating. You're sitting here going, oh, I need to work on my landing page. Okay, I will work on that. And it doesn't mean that you didn't launch it. It doesn't mean that you're not open for feedback. It's not perfect. Nothing's perfect. So I always say strive for B- work and be a little embarrassed. Embrace the pimple without having to tell you, I know I have a pimple here, so don't judge me. And therefore, it's very much about doing live video like you do. And I've been watching your Instagram lives. They're not perfect. And we, stuff happens and we stumble and we say weird stuff. And there's something, though, I think what makes it so engaging is that there is that lack of perfection. So don't think, it's this philosophy about sending emails, and you can either send beautiful emails, brands and beautiful emails, but there's value in just the rough looking email that looks like I'm just sending it to you, even though I might be blasting it to everybody. However, there's something cool about showing up as a real person, without everything being beautiful. Now, as a branding expert, how do you, Ben, who seems very visual and, has good style, how do you speak to that? This balance between showing up real, showing up a little raw. Like I say, don't be a perfectionist, don't strive for A+ work, but yet make it look good. What is your thought about that?
So my philosophy is very similar to yours. I resonate a lot with this B- approach.
Which, by the way, I have to interrupt. B- is above average, just so you know. It's above average. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, it is. It's above average. And I think you're above average just by doing it, you're above average, because so many people have all these big plans. Trust me, I hear it every single day in this job. We could sit here and forecast and navigate the next 6 months to a year, but I'm just not even interested in doing that, because I'm a bit jaded, because so many people have come before, and paid me a lot of money to forecast the future and make a year plan. And I'm like, for the right person that I know and I feel confident is going to execute, I'll do it. But usually I won't. I want you to prove yourself that you can do X, Y, and Z in the next 3 months. Then when you've proven yourself, we can forecast in the future. But I don't spend time living in the future. I get asked a lot about, like, Phil, what are you predicting for social media or branding trends in 2021, a year out? And I don't even have those conversations. I say, honestly, I don't put energy into the future, because I'm living in the now, trying to figure out what works now. We spend too much time thinking and not enough time doing.
Yes.
So I resonate with that. My email blasts, like, I'm the branding guy, and my email blasts are exactly as you described. I use ConvertKit. It has my very small logo up at the top as if it was stationary. And that's pretty much the only visual element you will ever see in an email blast from me. I try to never exceed 3 paragraphs. So I'm known for, like, conciseness. Whenever I submit my bio to a conference, they're like, do you have a longer one? I'm like, no, because if someone wants to read more about me, they'll go to my website, but I'm going to tell you what you need to know in about 4 or 5 sentences. That's my bio, because I want to respect the user's time. Content is an unlimited resource this year, next year, and beyond. The limited resource that we're all chasing is time. And so I'm going to respect people's time. And I think, hopefully, in turn, they'll respect me for that.
Hey, are you a blogger or entrepreneur who loves their business but is a little overwhelmed with all that you have to do in a day? Well, you are not alone. We all feel this way. So I want to share a pop-up tool that will increase your social media followers, grow your email list, build your traffic, and it is called MiloTree. MiloTree is a pop-up app that my husband David built for our first site, Catch My Party. In the 4 years that we've been using the MiloTree pop-up on Catch My Party, our Pinterest account has grown exponentially to over 1.1 million followers. And our Instagram has grown to over 160,000 followers. And these social networks now drive millions of page views to our site every single month. MiloTree works to grow followers on Pinterest, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. It'll grow your sales on Shopify or Etsy, and it will even grow your email list. You can focus on growing one platform at a time or switch between several. The choice is yours. MiloTree. It's easy to install. You can do it in under 3 minutes. It's completely optimized. Right now, you can get your first 30 days for free. Just go to MiloTree.com to sign up for your free trial. If you are not converting your site visitors into followers, subscribers, and customers, you need to change your strategy. To take the first step, head over to MiloTree.com and start your free trial. There's no risk, and you'll be joining thousands of other professional bloggers who are already using MiloTree to grow their businesses. As a bonus, once you sign up, I'll send you valuable business tips each week to help you continue to accelerate your growth. You can't be everywhere all the time, so let MiloTree work for you. It's fast, it's easy, and it gets results. So what are you waiting for? Head to MiloTree.com and start your free trial. So again, we coach other bloggers and help them grow their businesses. And people, we will work with them to get them to actually do stuff. And I'll say, here, I want you to write a blog post about something related to your business. And I want you to think about your blog post as a sales page, which kind of blows their mind because it feels especially a lot of, we work with a lot of women, and it's like, oh, I can't really ask for this sale or whatever. And so they put it way at the bottom. And I go, do you really think anybody's going to get there? Do you really think anybody is going to read through all of this stuff? And not that the blog post isn't good, and not that it isn't thorough. And it's this weird thing when you write for Google, you do want long blog posts because Google likes that. However, when you are writing for the audience, your audience member who is online, I don't know about today, but like in Target, at the checkout line, scrolling through her emails, gets your email, or gets this, link to this blog post. Do you really think she's going to read every word? I don't think so. So I love what you say, because I believe that. Get to the point. Why should I read this? What's the value for me as the reader? Provide it up front. Tell me what you want me to do so that I can decide if I want to do it or not.
Also, to your point, don't be afraid to sell, and don't be afraid to mention things more than once. Just because you post something once on your Instagram story doesn't mean that A, someone's going to see it just because you posted it, and B, they might see it, but they might forget it within 5 or 10 minutes. So we get scared to send a lot of emails about a sale or a launch or a product. And I'm in this boat as well. I could always send more emails when it comes to my launches, but I see X number of people unsubscribed. I'm like, oh no, they hate me, and we let the smallest handful of people in a huge pot, or it doesn't matter how big your pot is, but the unsubscribes are always significantly less than the number of people receiving it. And I think we get a little distracted or a little too focused on a small group of people. It's like 100 people give you a compliment and one person says something nasty, and what are you going to remember most? The nasty thing that someone said. And I think here's an example. That email I told you I sent yesterday to the list of people that clicked but didn't buy, guess what happened? Someone bought the course. I let the promo code go a few extra days beyond what I said, it expired. Because you always get people that say, oh, I forgot it. So I let it go a few days. Someone bought the course because I had sent them I'd sent them 3 or 4 messages, and this person who's busy and has a life thought, oh, damn, I was going to buy that thing and I totally forgot. I'm glad he emailed me. I'm going to go on and see if the promo code works, and it does. So perfect example. Don't be afraid to say things more than once. Be direct. Incorporate your personality so people know it's coming from you. I think humor in sales is great. Being to the point, direct, and concise is great. My last email that went to the list for the sale said, listen, it's Friday. Your time is valuable, so I'm going to keep it brief. And that's exactly how I would say it. So I wrote it exactly the same way.
I love that. I feel very much the same way. And I feel like this is the weird part, which is I'm inside me, right? So I'm I know this is going to sound weird, but therefore everything I see in the world is through my eyes. And I'm feeling all these feelings, and I'm responding to the world, and you are in you. And I have a hard time recognizing that you're not me, and you're not seeing the world the way I see the world. And weirdly, Phil, we just really met, but I kind of think you're obsessed with me. I think now you're going to follow me, and you're going to see everything I post, and you're going to like it, you're going to criticize, but I'm going to become really big in your world. And that is not true. People who follow you, they're not seeing everything you write. They're not reading all of our emails. They are not judging us in the way we think they're judging us, nor are they're not criticizing us. They're not loving us like we think they do. We're not important to them. And that's really hard to fully recognize, because I'm obsessed with me. I know everything I'm posting. I know everything I'm writing that either falls flat or succeeds. I'm in there. I'm in the Jill game. But you're not. And so to recognize that I'm not that important to you is so valuable. If I send another email, you're not going to be like, Jesus, Jillian, what are you doing? Stop clogging up my inbox. I saw your Facebook Live, or I saw your whatever. You are too out there. No, because you're thinking about
Yeah.
what's important to you. And that is it seems so obvious. And yet I think we all have to keep relearning this. We're not that important.
I agree. Yeah, we're not that important. It's a good constant reminder. I think another good area for exploration is also the ways in which you post. Like, get excited about giving people different ways that they can experience you. So there's a real hang up on Instagram Live, right? Because people are like, well, what's the point? No one wants to hear from me. My hair doesn't look good. I have the quarantine 15, whatever. Like, think about giving people different ways to experience you. And to your point, they're not going to experience all of them unless they're a super fan, in which case they want to experience them anyways. But what I like about, you brought up Instagram Live, what I like about live video formats is that you're in and out without the fuss of other technical details that weigh people down. When I started my podcast, I bought the cheapest little lav microphone for $20, even though I'm a total nerd when it comes to tech and gear and I want the best of everything. I forced myself to buy a lav microphone and do the first set of podcast episodes with a $20 microphone. I know it needs to sound good. I know that, but guess what? I need to earn it. I'm not just going to spend $500 on a Heil PR40 until I've earned it. It's a lot like going to the gym or getting into a routine and self-discipline. I'm not that disciplined, so I have to learn it. You know, I struggle with that. Some people are really good, really disciplined. I'm not one of them. So you have to earn it. There has to be rewards. And so once I got the first 5 episodes or whatever it was on my first podcast, then I invested in a microphone, knowing that I was going to continue with that. So Instagram Live is amazing because you don't have to worry about a camera. You don't have to worry about lighting. Really, just go stand by a window. You don't have to worry about editing or a microphone. None of that. When I do a YouTube video, I calculated that it takes about 5 hours per video, from writing it to filming it to editing it to pulling all the graphics. And my graphics are basic, but it still takes about an hour to get it ready. And then to post it and then to promote it, it's about 5 hours. When I do an Instagram Live, it's about 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes if I prep a little bit ahead of time. But you mentioned earlier, like, what would I say to those that experience perfection paralysis, other than I know because I experience it as well, we all do. Instead of getting hung up on it being perfect, aim for the B-, do, and remember to keep doing and iterating and perfecting from that time. We put all this effort into a big splashy website and we launch it, and then we don't update the blog for 6 months. Well, what's the point? Nothing is more important than keeping your content fresh and exciting to encourage repeat or return visitors. And last analogy, think about your favorite clothing store back when we could, go shopping and be around humans. Think about going past the window of your favorite retail store. Now imagine 2 years later, you walk past that same window and nothing has changed. Are you going to go inside the store? Probably not. If nothing has changed, even if it's the same clothes or the same product, you got to rearrange it a little bit to keep it fresh. So you have to think about your presence online, website, social media in a similar way to keep people engaged and coming back.
So what are your secrets for I feel like, tell me, for you or for your clients, where do you think they get the biggest bang for their buck showing up?
Yeah, good question. I would say not everywhere, because a lot of my clients are individuals. Their personal brands tends to be where I focus, even though I'll brand companies now and again, startups, etc. The process is still the same, but I really love working with people, and people have a limited amount of time. They're juggling lots of different things, kids, partners, all kinds of other commitments, maybe multiple jobs, multiple projects, pivoting from a full-time job to, something part-time that they want to turn into full-time, etc. There's a limited number of hours and days. So I would say focus. instead of being average on 10 platforms, choose 3 that you want to go all in on. And if one takes off, then focus on that one platform. Give it time and attention, and really try and, instead of be a rock star on 3, be a superstar on 1. For years, I said choose 3 and be a rock star. But now I say be a superstar on 1, because one platform, could really, when you go all in, can really grow you. And I think also knowing the ins and outs will better enable you to delegate, I think, is a big thing. Being able to hand off responsibilities and have people in the position to help you. I think once you start to know the ins and outs of things, I think it's helpful if you want to delegate, to know that and navigate that with someone else. So I would say focus is a big problem. People they want to launch a coffee brand, and then they want to have a cafe, and then they want to have a production company that stems from the coffee shop, and then they want to have merch. No one wants to buy your shit until you have good coffee. Focus and earn the ability to expand.
I think that is so smart. I think it's really hard to get your butt in the seat. I think it's much easier to dream up the production company than it is to actually roll up your sleeves and get the coffee business off the ground. It's so much more fun. And I think we do chase and there's all this possibility. All of a sudden you're going to go, I'm going to start a cafe. You know what? There's a lot of grunt work involved in that. It's not all branding and picking out my logo. And exactly. Hiring the attractive baristas. No, there's all this stuff that goes along with it that is not fun, that you don't know the answer to, that's tough. But it's a lot easier to go, well, once the coffee brand, the cafe is launched, oh my God, then we're going to do the YouTube show based in the coffee shop. And it's more fun to think about what the next thing is. And it's really hard to get your butt in the chair. Like you were saying, you spend so much time creating the beautiful website, but then now comes the hard part of creating content and being in the grind of it. I always share that it's not sexy. I worked in Hollywood, as we talked about, and my big takeaway was it's not sexy. It seems sexy, and there are moments where it's sexy, where you get to hang out with a celebrity. However, I will tell you, again, back to that thing, that celebrity doesn't care about you. So you have to care a lot about that celebrity to make this relationship beneficial, because you're not going to get anything back in return. So there are moments that are cool. Oh, I get to go to this premiere. Oh, I get to meet this celebrity who doesn't care about you. But the truth is, it's a lot of hard work. And that, I think, is I always try to demystify this. I go, if you're willing to work hard and you can be self-motivated, and that's why you can do, if you could do B- work, you can do this. But if you think it's all going to be about and then the cameras show up and, the makeup artist, and it's all so glamorous, it's not. The reality is it's not. It's hard.
Completely. And I think it's not sustainable if you're just attracted to the shiny objects. That's not going to last very long. You have to almost want to make mistakes and to be almost excited or obsessed with the bounce back or the navigating of those challenging times. For me, when I have a fire lit under my butt, for example, I know that landing page needed to be better, but now that someone has vocalized it and it prevented them from buying my course, now I'm prioritizing that more than I would have just thinking in the back of my mind, oh, that could be better. That could be better. So that's an example. I get excited about those challenges. I don't necessarily like friction or confrontation or when things go wrong. I don't think anyone does. But if you can rise to the challenge and be excited about things like growing as a person, again, not big on confrontation, but having to deal with confrontation over the years has made me better as a leader, has made me better as a business person. And sometimes you have to take a step back and go, even though this sucks right now, right in the moment as it's happening, I'm grateful that this is happening because it's going to lead to decisions that are going to foster growth. Oh my God, we're getting so deep, aren't we? We're so deep right now.
But I have to say, like when we were pressing record and we were talking about the pandemic and you said, I think there are real positives. Like I love that you find the positives, meaning we're talking about.
I always try to.
It's a grind. Like if you want to do this and be successful, you have to work hard and do a lot of crappy stuff. Like that's true. However, if you're willing to do that, it can be a really great ride. And I always say that your business will hold a mirror up to you and show you all of your strengths and all of your weaknesses, just like you were saying. Like it's the perfect, it's better than therapy because you want to face yourself, go start a business and you will see everything. And again, if you have an ability to be self-aware, you will learn about not just kind of how it feels on the inside, but how other people are experiencing you. And that can be harsh.
Totally.
And so you kind of learn to roll with it and to not take everything to that dark place or that deep place. And, you know, one thing that I think about is, again, I think perfection is like the path to hell and pain. But I think that it weirdly keeps us safe because, well, I'm not ready to launch yet because it's not there yet. And the truth is, and this is where I say, go launch it, be slightly embarrassed. But the positive way to think about this is that you don't have to show up with all the answers. Your job is to co-create with your audience. Like, for example, you getting that feedback about your landing page. Oh my God, that person just gave you this great gift. You want to now work on your landing page, but you wouldn't have really known that that's where you should focus. So you get that feedback, then you go do another iteration, and then maybe somebody else will go, you know, I might something else about, let's say, not even your landing page, but your email, whatever it is, and you're continually tweaking along the way. So your audience is an important piece to your business, not just that I'm putting out my perfection to you. It's, I'm going to put something rough out. You're going to respond to it. I'm going to then respond on top of that. And it's this continual building. So there's less pressure. Because how many times, I'm sure you've seen this, somebody works so years on whatever their product is. It's beautiful. And they launch it and nobody buys it.
Yeah. Because they focus on all the wrong things, on gear, on tech, on branding. I'll say it. They focus on the wrong things. And I feel very passionate about this because I've seen it more times than I'd like. So when it comes to branding, I always reshift our thinking from using it not as like something pretty, but as a business tool. So branding, this is how you want to think about it. You want to think about this as a business tool, as a way to actually manifest who you want to become quicker. So it's kind of like when we think about American Idol or shows like that, are really like, if you play your cards right and you're appealing, it's kind of like a fast track to success and brand awareness rather than doing it all on your own. Good branding can do the same thing. We can actually start to visually and through words and placement and layout and hierarchy and all these things, we can actually start to manifest the types of things that you want to see. I'm a brand strategist, but I started calling myself that when I was 21 or 22. It doesn't mean I was lying, but it was actually a branding agency that I had hired in Texas. They were my dream branding agency, a small one. And my first year after working successfully in this job, that was my gift to myself. I had just enough saved up to hire someone to take inventory of me, as you say, the mirror. And I was in it myself. So I said, like, can you help me design a logo for my business? Because it's hard to do for myself. And the value of that engagement, I've since rebranded. But they said to me, Phil, you're a brand strategist. I was like, wow, really? I am? Even though I'm young and I guess, I don't know job titles because I'd never worked in corporate. And I became a brand strategist that day. And now you can Google celebrity brand strategist. And I'm the first one to come up, cited in articles and talking about Beyonce and Oprah and all of these people, branding, that's branding, and I think so there's a variety of layers to this, but I get excited about when I see the shift from people thinking about this as like something pretty. Ooh, we need a pretty logo. We need a pretty color palette. No, what you need is to communicate your strengths like we've been talking about, but actually have crystal clear goals in mind and know what you need to communicate now to get you there quicker. That's what I get excited about.
Could you give an example?
Sure. I mean, so one example would be, I am my own example, first of all. So actually starting to say, okay, have someone say to me, you're a brand strategist, start to now vocalize and show people that this is what you're capable of. But oh my gosh, I've got so many clients in all different sectors, public speakers, entertainment, food and lifestyle. So here's an example. I'm really proud of this one. Dr. Mona Vand is a client of mine from a few years ago. We met in LA in a TV hosting class. She's a pharmacist, but wanted to host, obviously, and work in entertainment as well. Rather than waiting for the right opportunity, when Instagram Live, which has come up lots in this chat, came out, she jumped on it within weeks of this launching. And she created a very simple show called Mondays with Mona. So rather than waiting for some Hollywood producer to give her a gig, she hopped on her own channel consistently, did not miss a Monday for years, and ended up going all in on her area of expertise. So being vegan, healthy lifestyle, she's beautiful. All of these things contribute to people being interested in what she's doing. But now Instagram and influence is her full-time job. And we might look at that and go, oh, well, she just got that because she's beautiful or because she's consistent on social media. This is a marathon, not a sprint. She's been at it for years and she works super, super hard. And I've worked with her at various points in her kind of, from the very early days from her first website right through to her latest, brand identity. And even from there, she's growing and visualizing where she wants to go, and she's putting in the hard work to get there. That's one example, but I can think of a ton. I got an email from a client. I also, like you, have a folder, the love letter folder, where I keep all of them. And I was going through it the other day as I'm starting to think about redesigning my own website. And I've got things like, Phil, once we changed our branding, bigger clients that we had wanted for years finally started to take us seriously. I think about people even having a website or updating their website, and clients, prospects landing there and going, wow, this is the person for me. I worked with someone named Adelaide Goodeve in the UK, and she had moved recently to Norway, and she was a mindset coach. We were like, but Adelaide, who do you really want to work with? She said, triathletes. That's what I'm passionate about. I said, fantastic. Let's add that word on there and let's build a brand that speaks directly to triathletes. Doesn't mean that everyone who finds you is going to resonate unless they're a triathlete. They still might, in fact. However, but when you speak so confidently to a specific audience, that audience identifies themselves in you instantly. And her business has grown, and she's done all kinds of great things since kind of going all in on that audience. I mean, I can think of a million examples, but yeah.
So tell me if this is what you're saying, which is, and it speaks to, like, as we're talking, I feel I can hear certain themes. And one is focus, and one is, find your focus and don't be afraid to not be everything to everybody, but to really be something to somebody. And that therefore we all think, but then there are other people, like, let's say I'm the weekend athlete. I'm not the triathlete. Oh no, you're not going to attract that person. I'm the mommy who's doing stroller workouts. You know what? And that you're saying, don't worry about that. Like, you go and you speak to this very specific audience, and you be their best friend, or you be their expert or whatever. And that's not just okay. That's the goal.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I work with a lot of like lifestyle bloggers, right? Or lifestyle influencers. And I always go, I don't think lifestyle is a niche. I think
No.
food is a niche, or not even food. I think vegan food is a niche. Paleo
Yeah.
paleo for families is a niche. I think that travel is a niche, but budget travel is a better niche, or luxurious travel or cruising, not today, but people who go on cruises, that's Disney cruises, that's an even better niche. But to be
Yes.
lifestyle, which is I went on a Disney cruise with my family, now I put that up, and then I made this mac and cheese that my kids loved, and I put that up, and I bought this new shirt from Target, and I put that up, and that I'm lifestyle. It's like, no, you figure out who you are and what your audience wants from you, and you go that way. So am I right that you're all about
Totally.
focus?
Absolutely. You have to be focused. And I think you have to earn the ability to broaden yourself.
like
You have
that.
to earn that. You have
I
to
like
earn
that.
that. You don't get that from the start. When I started, I lived in LA and I branded TV hosts, not even actors. I didn't know anything about acting, but I worked specifically in the community of TV hosts. And very quickly, because I went all in on that audience, I became the guy that TV hosts would call. Hey, can you help me with Twitter? Hey, can you help me with my website? Hey, I'm up for this big gig and I really want to stand out. Like, what are your thoughts? And that was how I grew. Now I work with a lot of different types of businesses, and I attract businesses, even though on my website, personal branding is my niche. But I think I've experienced myself, so I feel passionately that you need to go specific from the start. You can't be everything to everyone. You have to appeal to someone. It has to. The more specific you go, the more that person's going to resonate with. And I still think stroller workout moms might be interested in you speaking specifically to triathletes, because maybe that's a secondary or a tertiary market, but because you've confidently communicated to someone, you're still going to attract.
That's interesting. Now, what about though? That was my question. What about though the people that go, oh no, that's too niche. I don't want to niche down to. I don't want to limit myself. I don't want to.
Well, here's what I say to those people. I say, oh, I'm sorry. You want to be so good at something that you become the person to call on that topic. That's your fear. That's not a real fear.
I love that. I love that. Phil, I feel like we are very like-minded in the way that we think
Yeah.
about things, that it is all about focus and it is all about hard work. I love your whole thing of how do you say it? Like, you need to earn it. I love
Yeah.
that. I think that is, I'm gonna steal that, but I will give you credit
Great.
for that. But that's it. It's like you need to hold yourself to this standard to buy the expensive mic.
Yeah.
I think that's great. Okay, Phil, if people want to learn more about you, I recommend you get on his email list. And like, how should people do this?
Sure. I love when people join my list. I keep an eye on that every single day. And even though there's lots of people, it's not so many that I can't keep track of people. So I love, my emails are short, they're punchy, they're always value packed. And it's just a fun way for me to engage with people and stay on each other's radar. So philpallen.co/list will get you on that list. But I mean, you can find me in lots of places. I'm very active on Instagram. So my handle everywhere is @PhilPallen. I have a number of courses that people might be interested in. Specifically, bloggers have shown lots of interest in a few of my courses: content mastery, email mastery, and Instagram mastery. PhilPallen.co is my website. And I also, if you're listening to this podcast, it means you like podcasts. My business partner and I, she becomes my co-host, and we host a podcast called Brand Therapy that we launch every single week and tackle all different kinds of challenges as part of that. We get them on the phone, they bring one specific question or challenge to us, and we work through it to get a solution in about 20-25 minutes.
Oh, that's so cool. Okay, I will definitely check that out. Well, Phil, it has been such a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me. You've asked amazing questions, and I love that you have a new, one-liner for me. I don't even think I've ever said that before, which shows you that you're a great interviewer. So thank you for that.
Well, thank you. My biggest takeaway from my interview with Phil is that building a business on the internet is actually a personal endeavor, meaning we think that we're speaking one to many, and what Phil reinforces is we're really speaking one to one. How can I touch somebody in a real way? That's how you actually build a business. And I think it feels counterintuitive, but I think it's incredibly insightful. So for you who is ready to start your business, we'd love to help you. Check us out at MiloTree/blogstart, and we will get your blog set up right so that you could take this time, this unusual time, and start building your own business, digging in, finding purpose, and creating the life that you want. My recommendation is to just start and do B- work. And I'll see you here again next week.